I don't think I've ever come into jungle drums before. That was quite impressive. And what a fabulous crowd here today, all in our blue and yellow. Thank you to Marjorie for the kind introduction, and thanks especially to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for working with us to organize this critical forum today. I am honored to participate in this meeting along with Commerce Secretary Raimondo, USAID Administrator Power, Undersecretary Fernandez, my colleague at the State Department, and so many others from the interagency. And it's also a pleasure to have Prime Minister Shmyhal and other Ukrainian ministers here in Washington with us, along with our fabulous Ambassador Makarova. I know you're here, I can't see you. And an incredible group of leaders from across civil society, the NGO world, international business, working towards a better future for Ukraine, for the US-Ukraine relationship, and for our world. As President Biden said in his State of the Union address in February, Putin's invasion has been a test for the ages, obviously for Ukraine, but also a test for America and for the world. Putin's cruelty and depravity, his willingness to sacrifice the men, women, and children of Ukraine, and even so many of his own citizens, threatens not only Ukraine, but the very order of our world. A little more than a year ago, the question was, would we meet this moment? Would we together defend the most basic principles of sovereignty, freedom, and democracy? Would we protect the international order that was built on the ashes of World War II and rooted in the rule of law and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states? A world order that ushered in the greatest period of economic progress in human history, billions of people brought out of extreme poverty and hunger, unprecedented advances in global health, longer life expectancies, and an end to the cycle of bloody European land wars. Oh, wait, until now. Or instead, would we allow a revisionist despot like Vladimir Putin to rip out the foundations of the order that we worked so hard to build? And if Putin were to succeed, what would that signal to other despots around the world with similar coercive toolkits and territorial ambitions of their own? 14 months into this conflict, the answer is clear. To quote Prime Minister Shmyhal, we are united in defense today, and we will be united in recovery tomorrow. The American people have provided extraordinary levels of military, economic, and humanitarian support to Ukraine. In solidarity with Ukraine, we and our allies have said no to Russia's brutal invasion and helped Ukraine push it back. We've said no to Putin's nuclear blackmail, no to the weaponization of food and energy, and no to the gross human rights abuses and war crimes inflicted daily on the Ukrainian people. The United States has not wavered in our response to Putin's war, and nor have our allies. We are more united than ever. And we, here in Washington, led by President Biden, will continue to ensure the free world supports Ukraine for as long as it takes. Why? Because the American people understand the stakes, that might cannot be allowed to make right. Not in Ukraine, not anywhere. Thanks to the bipartisan support of Congress, the American people have already provided over $50 billion in military, economic, and humanitarian support, but equally importantly, we've helped galvanize our partners and allies around the world to do the same. Europe alone has contributed another $50 billion across all lines of effort, in addition to welcoming 8 million Ukrainian refugees. And it's important for Americans to remember that in European homes across the continent, Ukrainians are finding refuge. Democracies across Asia and other continents are also helping as well. And our support has evolved as Ukraine's needs have evolved. You remember when Putin's 40-mile-long tank convoy was rumbling and grumbling toward Ukraine's capital, we rushed anti-tank artillery to help Ukraine win the battle for Kyiv. When Putin's forces dug in Kherson and Kharkiv, we supplied HIMARS and MLRS systems to help Ukraine retake vast swaths of its territory. And when Putin turned his missiles and Iranian-supplied drones on civilian infrastructure, cutting off over 40% of households from power, heat, and water in the dead of winter, we and our allies and partners provided counter-drone technology, air defenses, along with generators and auto-transformers, some as big as tennis courts, to help fortify and restore emergency power. Again, why all of this effort for Ukraine? Because we all understand that support for Ukraine is an investment in our own security and our own prosperity and the world that we and our children want to live in. And we've seen the payoffs of this kind of investment before. The United States made the largest foreign investment in history to rebuild Europe after World War II through the Marshall Plan, and we spent decades providing support to Japan and South Korea. Today, we sell $500 billion worth of goods across Europe and $150 billion worth of goods each year into Seoul and into Tokyo. Our relationships support millions and millions of jobs here at home and in those nations and make us all stronger. Still, I don't have to tell the people in this room, but I will, the task ahead is daunting. As the Ukrainian people heroically defend their immediate future, we must also help them begin planning for their long-term recovery. Together, we are working on how to support Ukraine's military of the future so that Russia can't simply storm back after this next counteroffensive and take land again in a few months or in a few years. We will also help rebuild Ukraine's energy infrastructure so it comes back greener and more resilient. We will help strengthen Ukraine's government institutions to ensure they deliver dignity and opportunity for all Ukraine's citizens and that they are better hardened against corruption. And we will help rebuild Ukraine's cities and towns and villages so displaced Ukrainians can return home without fear, reunite with their loved ones, and get back to their businesses, to their farms, and to the work of building a peaceful, democratic future. The World Bank now estimates that reconstruction could cost $411 billion over the next decade, and that's a conservative figure. So, among other things, we are working to ensure that Russia helps pay for all that it has broken. With the support of the Congress, the Justice Department has new authorities to use illicit assets seized from Russian oligarchs to aid in Ukraine's reconstruction. In February, we announced the first tranche of $5.4 million under this authority, with more announcements to come. And of course, discussions are ongoing about the estimated $300 billion of Russian central bank assets that we and our allies have frozen. One thing is certain, a successful recovery will require a strong and enduring cooperation and partnership between government and the private sector. This means we have to think about all of the issues that you've been discussing this morning and throughout the conference, including political risk insurance to help our firms get in quickly. We also need to help deepen Ukraine's integration with Europe and make its products a larger part of a healthy and democratic global supply chains. And we also have to ensure that Ukraine lives up to its potential as a global technology center. I know these are the tough issues that you all are grappling with, and we look forward to hearing the ideas that come from this conference. Our work together here is not simply about rebuilding what Putin has so criminally destroyed. It's about the complete modernization and revitalization of Ukraine. Our shared goal must not be a Ukraine that simply survives. It must be a Ukraine that thrives. I want to thank all of you for the role you're playing in that mission, and equally importantly, for the role you're playing in protecting all that we, as democracies and democratic people, hold dear. Thank you so much.